Yo, I in my yard production.
IMYP. You see the pre. Some people want more money, forget material things. But I say more life and more blessings. More blessings and life, that are my concept. Cause every day me get up, me see life and death. Enough people are struggling a life and step. While some are act like them life don't set. So me rally and go through and don't have no regrets. No money that's car, no we no perfect. With me life, me no gamble or bet. I saw the thing said, who no like it can step. Who want vex, make them vex. Me no take talk, me no take check. Upfront cash when money I go make. Or you can transfer it to me not west. No laughing, no broke badness. Let's talk, me just hold my mess. Anyway me spark it when me smoke at the best. The weed up in my chest, still everything blessed, everything blessed.
Black History Month is an insult. You're going to regulate my history to a month, when indeed my history is 365. Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon. This is the Rastafari International Ambassador, Jaboni, better known as Badass, the man from Buzzwalk, Bakawal. And today, I am coming to you live and direct from outside the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. Today is a very historical day. And first, I have to say, apologize to Isat Buchanan. Sometime last year, while his dad was on tour, who is my good friend, his dad introduced me to his son, Asat Buchanan. And when I heard that he was Vybz Kartel attorney, I made a lot of public statement in terms of he's an ex-convict, and no convict can't try no case in the Privy Council here in England. So I want to take off my hat today and swallow my word, because my pride is not too big for me to stand down and that. When it had come to my attention that the Vybz Kartel case would be on trial again, appeal hearing trial today, I tell myself that, Bonnie, you cannot afford to miss this opportunity to go live at this hearing. So I made it a point of duty to be a part of this history. Because this is not a make-up history. This is history in the making. Whether Vybz Kartel win or lose the case, it's still history. And I'm here now to report from that angle. I will have to give you a brief rundown of the Privy Council, the work of the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. The Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, with roots dating back to Norman times. Hear that? Norman times. The Judicial Committee of the Privy Council developed at the High Court of Appeal for civil and criminal case from across the British Empire. Today, it still performs this function for many Commonwealth countries, as well as for British overseas territories. The Crown dependency and military sovereign base era. Since 2009, the Judicial Committee has shared a building and administrative function with the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom. Hence, I am standing outside of this building. The jurisdiction of the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council date back to the time of the Norman Conquest in 1066. Do you hear what I said? 1066. This building and this court have been here governing the Commonwealth countries. When the king, as supreme authority in his kingdom, would receive petition from his subject and dispatch justice through the Cura Regis, the King of Council, over the following century, Parliament emerged out of the King's Council, and by the 15th century, it is assumed the role of court of final instant, hearing appeal from other courts. However, the King Council, later the Privy Council, retained its appellate jurisdiction for the overseas dominion, acting through its judicial committee. The committee business grew with the rise of the British Empire, and by 1920, it was said that a quarter of the world could bring their financial appeal to judicial community. The extent of the committee jurisdiction reduced substantially in the course of the last century, when the British Empire became the Commonwealth of Nations. Many Commonwealth countries have since developed their own Supreme Court to serve as final court of appeal, and a number of the Caribbean countries have vested their jurisdiction in the Caribbean Court of Justice, situated in Port of Spain, Trinidad. Legal system and jurisprudence. Over the decade, the judicial community has been asked to determine legal questions arising in different kind of law from many countries, including Roman Dutch law from South Africa, British Guyana and Sierra Leone, pre-revolutionary French law from Quebec, medieval Norman law from the Channel Island, and Muslim, Buddhist, and Hindu law from India. Judges hearing the appeal have to do so within the context of the legal framework of the jurisdiction in question, but often have to apply wider common law principle to resolve the dispute. Some of these cases have thus developed general legal principles that have since been widely appealed by other courts across the world. Historically, significant cases heard by the judicial committee, including one in 1928, in which 5 Canadian women challenged the wording of a piece of law about election to the Canadian Senate. Does the word person in Section 24 of the British North American Act 1867 include female person. The judicial community ruled that it did include women. Another was the 1961 Wagon Mound appeal, a significant test case limiting the amount of compensatory damage. This followed proceeding concerning a fire in Sydney Harbour that destroyed a wharf and several ships after oil had leaked from another ship. The wagon mound and was accidentally set alight by a dock worker using torch. The owner of the dock sought damage from the ship owner, but the judicial committee held that a party should only be liable to compensation where the damage loss was reasonable, foreseeable, although pollution of the dock was a foreseeable consequence of the oil leak. The fire was held not to be. The current jurisdiction of the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council covered the following country: the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Island, St. Christopher and Nevis, British Virgin Island, Angola, Bermuda, Antigua and Barbados, Bermuda, St. Lucia, Isles of Man, Gossenary, Akrotiri and Tequila, Brunel, Corbeti, Tuvalu, Niue, Pelican Island, Cayman Island, Jamaica, Falkland Island, Montserrat, British Antarctic Territory, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Helena Ascension and Tristan da Cunha, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mauritius, Gibraltar, British Indian Ocean Territory, Jersey, and Cox Island. The jurisdiction of the judicial community today, there are around 30 jurisdictions which provide for appeal to the judicial committee. These include many Commonwealth countries as well as British Overseas Territory, the Crown Dependency, and military sovereignty base era. I have just read the map to you. Where the judicial committee may hear an appeal, it is regarded as the final court of appeal, and it generally has the power to reverse the decision of the lower court in the territory from which the case was referred. The judicial committee also retains some domestic jurisdiction hearing appeal against decision of the disciplinary committee of the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons. Very occasionally it may hear case from other source, including appeal against Church of England parish, recognition scheme of decision of the Court of Admiralty of the secure ports. Finally, under Section 4 of the Judicial Committee Act 1833, Her Majesty also had the power to refer any matter to the Judicial Committee for consideration and report. The community constitution and composition. The present constitution of the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council is based on the Judicial Community Act of 1833. Under the Appellate Jurisdiction Act 1876, the then lords, now Justice of the Supreme Court, became the Parliament Judge of the Court. All Privy Councillors who hold or have held high judicial office in the United Kingdom or have been judges of Superior Court of certain Commonwealth countries are also eligible to be called to serve on the committee if they are under 75 years of age. Until October 2009, the then lords would have Parliament to hear appeal in a special courtroom alongside the Privy Council offices in Darling Street today. It shares a building and administrative function with the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom in Parliament Square. 5 judges normally sit to hear appeal, but sometimes 3 for certain matters. Most of the judgment of the committee technically take the form of advice to the monarch, which then becomes order in council. So that is the jurisprudence that will decide Vybz Kartel and team whether they free or they remain in custody for the duration of their sentence. Case subject crime. Appeal against murder conviction. Admission of evidence. Jury impropriety. JCPC 2020/0049. Sean Campbell and others, appellant, versus the King, respondent, Jamaica. It is safe to say the King is who governed Jamaica up until today. This is why it's a serious issue. There is nothing to do with independent, but I don't want to divert. Appellant, 1, Sean Campbell. 2, Adija Palmer. 3, Kasharia Jones. 4, Andre St. John. Respondent, the King of England. Jurisdiction, Jamaica. Subject that. Issue. On the 13th of March 2014, the appellant were convicted of the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. The issue in this appeal is whether their conviction are safe in light of the following grounds of challenge. 1. Should the trial judge have excluded the telecommunication evidence relied on by the prosecution? 2. How should the judge have angled the allegation that there were attempts to bribe members of the jury during the trial? Should the jury or the particular juror said to have offered the bribe have been discharged? 3. Was the judge wrong to invite the jury to reach a verdict late in the day, given the special circumstances of the case? Key facts. After trial lasting 64 days before the trial judge and a jury in the Home Circuit Court in Kingston, Jamaica, the appellant were convicted of Mr. Williams' murder. The prosecution case was that the appellant murdered Mr. Williams on the 16th of August 2011 after he failed to return 2 unlicensed firearms, which the second appellant, Mr. Palmer, had given him for safekeeping. Mr. Williams was not seen or heard from after that date, and his body has never been found. The police took the appellants into custody on the 30th of September 2011 and seized their cellular telephone. The prosecution relied heavily on evidence derived from these phones, which was taken from a copy of a CD-ROM provided by Judicial, a telecommunication provider in Jamaica. In response to a police request at the trial, the appellant challenged the admissibility of this telecommunication evidence. They argued that the police requests to Digicel and Digicel provision of the data to the police were carried out in breach of the Interception of Communication Act. Further, the evidence had been obtained in breach of the fundamental right to the protection of privacy of communication guaranteed by the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedom contained in the Jamaica Constitution. However, the trial judge ruled that the telecommunication evidence was admissible. During the trial, the judge became aware of an allegation that a jury had attempted to bribe others by offering 500,000 Jamaican dollars for a particular outcome. After investigating the allegation and considering it with counsel for both the prosecution and the defense, the judge decided that the trial should proceed. He did not discharge the jury or the particular juror said to have offered the bribe. The judge finished the summing up at 3:42 p.m. on the 13th of March 2014. The jury returned at 5:35 p.m. when the forewoman told the court that the jury had not reached an unanimous verdict. The judge sent the jury out again, and at 6:08 p.m., the jury returned and by a majority of 10-1 convicted the appellant of the murder of Mr. Williams. The Court of Appeal dismissed the appellant appeal against conviction. The appellant now appealed to His Majesty in council. Court counsel, first appellant, Julian Malin, KC, Bert Samuel, Tashila, Maraj, Linda Odinson. Benisa Samuel, Asat Bokana. Second appellant, David Islap QC, Isaac Bokana, Alexandra Lambich. Third and fourth appellant, Hugh Shortry, KC, John Clark, James Roberton, Hodula Mature. Respondent, Peter Knox QC, Roy Turnbull. Now, I, Jaboni, was present today at the court, and as I said, I must take off my hat to Asat Bokana for his angling and marshalling of the case. He was leading attorney, and I was actually very shocked and proud at the same time to know that this is a Rastaman son that was standing in one of the ice court. This is one of our slave court, going back, emphasis, going back from, what did I say earlier? Because these things have to carry enough weight for know say my virgin son come turn up in our court and defend one of I and I. This court exists from the 15th century. Hey, not the 15th century. This court exists from 1066. Going back from them say the Norman conquest. You see how far we're going back in our history. When you in this court, when you look round upon the surrounding of the court, is sign and wonders. This is like you're going to the devil's chamber. This is how me sit down amazed as the Rasta ambassador. But on a different note, I was very shocked that the proceeding at the Home Circuit Court, how it was well attended, and here in England, where we have so many Gaza and Gully fans, there was no one from the Gully side or from the Gaza Strip there standing up for the world boss. The only person that was there today was the Rastafari International Ambassador, who represent all of Gully side, all of the Gaza. And that me go there today for stand up, to represent. Yeah. And when I look around, I see nobody else. Yet every weekend me out, I'm there a big dance, and it's Gully and Gaza around the ends. Where is all the Gully fans? We can come make the judge say we love Vibes Kartel, and Sean's Farm and St. John and what his name, the whole team. Because our youth them, Today I take it that everybody gone to watch the fake history, the make-up history, the Valentine One Love history, and abandoned World Boss. But World Boss, I was there today in my capacity as the ambassador, and I was also there in my capacity standing guard from a virgin son under tough gang security, because we run tough gang security around here. So I was there in two capacities. So I'm not going to draw this out because the final is tomorrow. So I will come again tomorrow, live and direct to you all. So enjoy the footage and the evidence, and it is history time. So the ambassador was there in his capacity, straight from Bakawal, coming to you live and direct from the Privy Council.
think so, but I'm checking.
Okay.
So I haven't been there.
You know what? Thursday, next year, I'm John.
Okay, see you later.
Assad, come in. The team, come in.
All right, see you later. I don't know if we can do this, you know, so I don't want to get me in
No, we're not getting that trouble, man. You need not be
I
saying
don't
none.
know if you can video, so.
No,
Yeah, don't.
outside, not inside, outside. That's
No,
why I'm
I
out
just
here.
don't know. So
But
I don't
not
want
till
to
it's
see that.
check it out.
I don't want to see that complete because, because my
Don't-
enemies are here.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't
good.
do that. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
Come take a photo of me. Otherwise.
Yeah, so I don't want
Yeah,
I don't know.
So just set the photo.
All right, good.
Yeah.
No,
Go.
respect, man. Yeah.
Yeah, don't talk no.
Bless you.
Yeah.
Listen.
I'm never ever say certain things. Come.
You got use a Mali?
Yeah.
You'll get me in that trouble, you know. But
Yeah.
big up yourself, Steve.
Yeah, take a picture, man. Yeah.
Big up yourself. No, man. Big up Red Mali. Don't be careful.
Good job today, my bro. Good
All
job.
right, blessings.
You like me to say, I'm take off that. Look wild to you because
Come, Mr. Beach.
I hear your mother from me, yeah?
I
You know, I
will,
said
I
that.
will.
I'll tell you I say.
Yeah.
All right.
Hotel.
Yeah.
All right, blessings.
You know, I'm going to follow you to panting there. Assad.
Yeah, go on.
Assad, me I follow you panting there.
All right. Look, go on, 'cause you know just.
Me I follow you pan your new program where you're on to.
All right,
Yeah,
respect.
this is respect, yeah?
All right.
But
All right.
me have to
I'm gonna
come.
use that.
Me have to
So
come
you
to
watch
prove.
too, are you not in the picture?
Very nice, man.
I did.
Come on. Don't know. Outside.
Hey.
Context matters, right?
Yes, context matters.
Yeah, man. I want to say, lick about Talawa.
All
Bless
right,
it.
cool.
All right.
Assad, look on it. Lick about Talawa.
All right.
One more for the boss. Come in.
Hold on, I have to take over that. Is a labor right sign nothing put
No.
Fix it,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
fix your hand.
fix
Fix
your
your hand. It's
hand,
either this way or this way. All right.
R3 if it's long.
Come here. Yeah.
Lick about Talawa.
Got it?
Lick about Talawa.
All right, respect.
Lick about Talawa. Look on that. Lick about Talawa. All right, bless, yeah, bless, yeah. That was good. Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon. This is the Rastafari International Ambassador, the man from Buzzrock, place called Backwall, with his garment dipped in blood. As you can see today, I'm coming to you live and direct from outside the Privy Council building. I've just spent approximately 5 hours listening to the case against Vybz Kartel and team. Now I have watched the government struggle, for lack of a better word, and I can say that I take my hat off to Assad Buchanan, my virgin son. Now, it's hard to say which way the case will turn. But let me give you a brief history of this court. In previous podcasts, I have tell the world that it was Anthony Tingle, better known as General Starkey, the first vanguard to get sentenced for life and 10 years without the possession of a weapon. At the time, when the general was sentenced, he was underage. Yeah, he was a juvenile. And he got life and 10 years. And he spent a couple of years inside. And it was this court again that ruled that it was unconstitutional for anyone to get life for a weapon that was never found. Hence, this court reduced his sentence to 5 years, and he was released on his first parole board. This court, my second encounter with this court, was as a result of the author of this book. This book is Death Row. This book was written by Maria Hector. The issue again of Maria Hector was he was charged for robbing the first bank robbery. It was a commercial bank down at the Newport West. And the security guard happened to got killed. At the time, Maria Hector again was under 16. And he was sentenced to hang at the gallows. And after a period of, I think, 12 years, Maria was free again by this court. At the time when Maria was free, not only Maria was free, 21 other brethren were free with Maria Hector because they were all underage and sentenced to death. Now, my third encounter, as you can see today, is for the Vybz Kartel case. And I'm here today doing the Vybz Kartel case because, one, I am here representing all Ghetto Youth as the Rasta ambassador, but I'm also representing in my capacity as tough gang security. As you know, today they are releasing the tough gang story, but the Valentine side of the tough gang story. Now, it's a story. It's a made-up story. So that's what now hitting the headline. Everybody today gone to see the make-up story, while the real story is taking place right in this building.
Yeah, that's true.
The real story is let me just give it to you correct. We got three young men. We got three young men facing life for the rest of their life in prison. Vybz Kartel and Sean Storm and his team. Now, for some reason, the trial took a different turn just now. One, the phone evidence and the jury is giving the government real difficult now. That little boogie yaga thing we run down at King Street can't run here, sir. So, a pint of law now, I gotta do it. Now, one of the surprises that I noticed at the boy Vibes Cartel trial, the Home Circuit Court was full with Gaza people. Today, I and these people, turn the camera on them. This is the Gaza people today, Vibes Cartel. These are your people today. Look, our English youth.
DJ Quincy, man.
See that?
Quincy Sound.
Yeah.
And we play the most Vibes Cartel in England.
Yeah.
See? We
And
represent.
Quincy's here today.
How you mean?
So right now, Cartel, when you come,
How you mean?
we are going to look to see your car, and we are your real fan.
I
A whole heap of nasty nigga there. I talk about them at Gaza. When them there? See the Gaza here? And this is the Gaza.
outside.
Yeah, the true we see us, so. Yeah. So now, like me say, I'm very happy. I'm very happy because I sat Buchanan. Him argue the case.
Yeah.
Strongly too.
Yeah. Yes.
I want to say strongly. Him never have to go up on the record. Him no point to no minutes.
Never fumble.
Yeah, and him no point to no minutes because case of law, I'm gonna do it right now. But watch the prosecutor barrister appoint 2 minutes. I'm gonna watch the 5 judge laugh him to scorn. Yeah, me watch that. So I'm not gonna make this too long and drawn out because I don't want to give away what is not to be given away.
Tomorrow we're there. Tomorrow again.
Tomorrow we're there.
10 o'clock.
Yeah. So this is a sneak preview.
What happened?
DJ Quincy.
Yeah, man. Respect.
You know, say, yeah, the man there. And what they represent. Yeah. Hey, when we walk to the courtroom, the quiet enough. The energy, when them see this, you know, the energy where the courtroom have, I said to myself, so wait, you come right. And we come to free the Gaza, you know.
You mean we?
We come to free the Gaza. We there represent the Gaza
Early.
all the way. And tomorrow we're there bright and early again. Yeah. 10 o'clock sharp.
Come on.
Keep it locked.
Yeah.
Yeah, bless.